Mars Needs Moms. I'm sad to report that this is the last film made by Image Movers Digital, the company that brought us films like The Polar Express, Monster House, Beowulf, and their version of A Christmas Carol. It's possibly the only studio that makes their animated films by computer motion capture. The films that they made are not the greatest, but they are pretty decent and fun. Now, as they leave us with this film, while we stand in front of its tombstone, should we give it a bouquet for their last achievement? Or should we start river dancing in front of it? Let's find out. The story. The story itself is pretty good as a short book, but I can't really say the same as a movie. It's just too short to stretch it into a 90-minute film. The beginning feels like it was way too rushed. Like, let's not waste time knowing the relationship with Milo and the mom, let's just cut to the chase and go to Mars. And then when they are in Mars, the majority of the movie now becomes repetitive. Here's how it goes. Run away, fall, find my mom. Run away, fall, find my mom. Run away, fall, find my mom. Also, in between these moments, they would include random dialogue that I don't really care about. Another thing that bothers me about this is that they would force an emotion on you way too much. For example, during the scene where Gribble talks about how he ended up on Mars, what he tries to explain is sad, but I find that they would go way too far with it. Even though the story is not so well organized, at least the moral of the story they're giving us is good. And it's to always love and appreciate your mom. And when you do, Martians will come and take your mom so that they can blow her up, steal her brain, and put it on robots to raise an army. Wait a minute. The animation. I bet you all want to know, what do I think of Image Movers' animation? Well, let me start off with the humans. And let's just say that they sound like humans, they move like humans, but they don't look like a real creature. I mean, with one exception, they look like Navis with human skin. Let me tell you that when the Martians look more human than your actual humans, you really screwed up. Speaking of the Martians, their character design is alright, but you know the term junk in the trunk? Well, they're all carrying the entire junkyard on them, which is really weird, yet somehow I can't stop staring at it.
Wow, that's a pretty big butt.
And then there's the character animation. I know it's motion capture, but my problem with it is that it's too realistic. It doesn't feel natural for an animated film, and it ends up not looking as nice as it was meant to be. They also have those roller coaster scenes that we see in all Image Movers films, and the first time that it happened was awesome, but then it really gets repetitive since they do it a few times more in the exact same place. I do have to admit though that some of the background animation is pretty nice and creative. Although the animation is not really appealing, I do have to admit that they made some improvements, and I hope it'll be more improved as they make more animated films. Oh yeah, the entire company is closed down. Well then, never mind. The characters. Good luck trying to find anybody to like or at least feel for them. First off is the main character, Milo. There is absolutely nothing I like about him. He's just a one-dimensional character. His character design is so unnatural that it's hard to look at. The kid who replaced Seth Green as the voice was terrible, and worst of all, at the start of the movie, he said this one line that's so unforgiving that it'll make you hate him for the rest of the movie. I know it's hard to imagine, but once you hear that line, you'll understand. And then we have the mom, who only appears in the beginning and the end of the movie. We have no time to care for her, so let's move on. Then there's Gribble, who is mostly one of two things when he's on screen. Annoying or a dick. But he's not really the worst character, and there's one thing that I love about this guy. He's the only human in this movie that looks like an actual human, which is one of the reasons why I said before that their animation improved a bit. Then there's Kai, who always talks like a hippie because she learned English by watching this one show that's about hippies. And because of that, I feel like she sounds dated, but at least she gives us something to look at.
Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Nuts, know what I mean? Say no more.
There's also the sexist supervisor, the main antagonist of the movie, who looks like if you mix the Grand Councilwoman from Lilo and Stitch and the Emperor from Star Wars and make her try to speak a European language that she had no idea that existed. Anyways, she doesn't really make an impact on this film, so as a villain, she's not that good. And then there's Wingnut and Toucan, who are a special kind of comic relief. They have no purpose to be in the movie other than doing stupid reaction shots. You might argue that Toucan is sometimes helpful, but it's a fact that the other one did nothing but being stupid. Sometimes, it's easy to ignore the characters you don't like so you can enjoy seeing the ones you do. But when the entire cast is unlikable, all you can do is just get used to them. Mars Needs Moms is just an unpleasant animated film with a simple story that's broken, animation that's improving but sometimes not pretty to look at, and has a batch of characters that are as likable as a mosquito bite. Now, we know that the reason why Image Movers is closing down is because of money issues, but I think I know what's the company's real problem: improper use of the motion capture technology. Allow me to explain. The motion capture technology is used to turn people into humanoid surreal characters. A great example is Davy Jones and his crew in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Robert Zemeckis, however, is using motion capture animation to make people. It would have looked nicer and would have been way cheaper if he used actual people in front of a green screen. It's like having a toaster made of toast. Do you make more toast out of it, or do you cut a slice of it for your breakfast? Don't get me wrong, sometimes they would use it to make cool looking surreal characters like in A Christmas Carol or the Martians in this film. But it's just most of the time, they spend their money to make people look like people. Now if you excuse me, I need to check how things are going with the upcoming sequel, Mars Needs Financial Help.